Hey, it's Off Track Wes. I want to start this video off with a formal apology. This is a video that should have been out a while ago. The end of February was a few weeks ago, and I honestly got burnt out and need some time away from editing. But now, I can come back and properly finish off Feb with this video, a set-it video, and a reflection on the project overall. So, sorry for anyone waiting, or to all the people that I've been watching day after day. But if you've been watching from the future and been seeing this project, we got a few more videos left, and I hope you enjoyed the series so far. Thank you for anyone that's been along with this. And without further ado, let's get to it. This isn't Fire Emblem February. This is a video that should have been done during Fire Emblem February. But if you're here watching this anyway, and you weren't one of the people that are watching every day in a row, thank you. And if you have been waiting for this, thank you even more. So, let's get to it. So I've been playing Fire Emblem since I was 15, all the way back then, several years ago. I beat my first Fire Emblem games on my Android, but don't tell Nintendo that. So being a fan for so long left me wondering, how many black characters are there in the series? So after looking through literally every character in the series, what I found was less than a dozen black characters. Which sucks! Really sucks! And it's even lower if I don't make like a few exceptions. So, in Fire Emblem 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 11, 12, and kind of 15, there are no black characters. That's more than half the series. Looking through all of this though, I did find several tan blondes, something that I was considering putting on the list, and don't make fun of me for that. I'm forced to take what I can get from these games. So that means Cormag, Glenn, Ingrid, Hawkeye, Vake, and Catherine. She counts if you want to claim her. I don't. Too many tan blonde bros. Too many darker skinned blonde characters that aren't necessarily black, but you know, it's when I'm playing Fire Emblem 8 and I'm a kid and I see Cormag and I think this guy's cool and he's dark skinned and he's riding a dragon, I'm here for it and I use them. So we gotta take what we can get. Those were the scraps I had to take being a black fan of this series. But unfortunately, he's tan blonde, which isn't black, which sucks. There are also several racially ambiguous characters. Characters who are darker skinned and aren't really specified, or characters that are closer to having influences from Western Asia. I love those guys, especially Bori. I mean, look at Bori in the original game.
Bruh, look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No.
And look at the glow up he got in the remake. He deserved it. Gray too. We love Bori and Gray. There are also several Asian coded characters in Fire Emblem, which is nice. I always thought Hoshida was super cool and have been hoping and praying Fire Emblem does something like that again, creating a whole nation based off something that isn't the pseudo kind of medieval setting that they so typically do. It only really follows that setting in a superficial way, and the setting of the world also shouldn't matter, since Fire Emblem tends to explore different continents, and it's a fantasy setting, so it shouldn't be weird to have lots of different characters and multiple races being around. If your suspension of disbelief breaks when you see a black person in a video game, I'm sorry, but you just fail as a person on every level. Like I said, this is a fantasy genre. It shouldn't be weird or out of place at all. And it's honestly just starring that black characters are never at the forefront of my favorite series. I don't like them any less, actually, low-key I kinda do. But it's just knowing that we're always the outsiders or the side characters, but never the main characters. In fantasy genres, we're always the others, and right audience gets the luxury of being the default. I'm not saying anything new, and this isn't really just about Fire Emblem, but video games in general. In the past 10 years, more characters have been more diverse, which is good, but damn, I hope it increases even more. Or at least, like, give us some hairstyles when we're in character creation. Elden Ring for real? Now, we can get to actually talking about the black characters I looked at for this list, which is an outstandingly low number. I'll be rating these characters with an arbitrary vibe check, which is admittedly a meaningless ranking, but it sounds cool, so I'm going with it. Starting with Garrett in FE6. Garrett is very much a standard FE6 character. Not in a bad way though. He fits his archetype fairly well, being a bandit with a heart of gold. But he does it pretty solidly, and with interesting supports, he comes off as an endearing character. Though it's very suspicious, he's one of the few characters not in the phone game. Either way, he passed the vibe check with his 60 hit hand axe on the scale of FE6. For Fire Emblem 9, we have Devdan and Danved. I love his name actually. You know what? At first, I was gonna complain that he's a joke character, but Devdan and Danved, I'll give him a pre-vibe check score of a sprinkle on top. So, Devdan is one of the first black characters in the series, and his design is great. Not a lot of characters can make orange look nice. Well, Leone makes orange look really nice, like really nice. But this isn't a Leone video. Back to Danved. I love his design, and his hair is great. Unfortunately, he's a joke character, which is just a thing. He's supposed to be dumb. He talks in the third persons, and I'm not sure if we're supposed to be laughing at him or with him, but he's certainly something. And it really does blow, especially because he's the first black character in the rest to come through since Garrett was trapped in FE6. That's a bit of a blow. And sure, he does have some good supports, like the ending of his support with Tormad. It's really nice, so he has some redeeming qualities. He's also a halberdier, which is awesome, since that's a class very few units belong to. When I think about it though, he's overall okay. I don't think the rides were intentionally being mean-spirited. And it is kind of funny to have a character who just wants to chill and have fun in the middle of war. On the vibe check, I give him 3 green cavaliers over 3 red cavaliers. For FE10, we got Fiona, whose beauty alone makes her pass the vibe check. She also has high growths and is kind of an est, and we love est. Est are the best.
You suck!
But being serious, her coming in late and having bad availability makes it as if the game doesn't want me to use her, which makes me convinced that Intelligent System does have an agenda against black characters. She easily passed the vibe check with 200 bonus experience divided by all the experience 313 Archer can get, because next time I play Radiant Dawn, I'm gonna use her anyway. Next, we move on to Mustafa, Basilio, and Flavia, who are 3 very well-designed black characters, and they all happen to be good characters too. Mustafa is one of the most memorable bosses in the series, and an altogether sympathetic character. Basilio and Flavia look awesome, and it's cool that they both come from Fair Rocks. Along with that and the little world building we get, it forms an interesting nation. Flavia's look specifically is also very tasteful and unique from a female character. Her design isn't aggressively sexual, and she gets to be a cool badass and an older woman without Fire Emblem making it weird. Basilio looks cool too, and it's nice that they both play a role in the plot. Though, it sucks that they don't have supports with other characters besides Robin. It would go a long way if we got to have supports with the both of them, or the both of them got to have future children like the rest of the Awakening cast. But we finally got some love with the 2 of them, which is better than nothing. They all passed a vibe check with 3 10s on an Emerald Frog Splash. Claude is finally the first dark-skinned lord, or darker-skinned lord, or just non-white lord. And I want to talk about how awesome that is for me. When I first looked at his design, I was happy we were getting a lord that was different than the usual blue, green, red-haired anime right person protagonist. Not just that, but he's also one of the best characters in Three Houses in the series in general, for being so funny, thoughtful, and relatable. His down-to-earth attitude and his dreams and ambitions of wanting to create a world where people can exist without prejudice makes him super admirable and empathetic. His origins are also really interesting, with his design taking aspects from ancient Persian culture, along with having an Arabic name in Khalid. I now personally claim Claude as a black character, because finally, this is the closest we're ever gonna get to a black king in Fire Emblem. Well, actually, Echoes did have a pirate king. But I digress. Petra passes the vibe check too for the same reasons, because she's great. Awesome, lovely design, relatable. We also claim her. Claude and Petra passed the vibe check with a long-distance relationship over 2 nations, plus some rope.
Do you think he can give you the kind of future you deserve?
I am not knowing about the future, but my perfect husband could be him. And if he gives refusal, I will be tying him up and dragging him home.
Tie up? Well, I'm sure the lucky man will learn to accept his fate one way or another. Besides, I doubt any man would reject a proposal from a catch like you.
Happy is a pretty interesting character. She's charming when she's coming up with funny nicknames, but she could also be very withdrawn and seemingly bored at times. When you find out more about her, she's overall a very sympathetic character. A girl who felt bored and trapped by her hometown, just wanting to see more of the world, only to be taken hostage and experimented on by Cornelia, then to spend the next few years of her life under the tomb of the Church of Sheros in the Abyss. So it makes sense that she's someone who can never really relax, and it's incredibly cute when she gets a chance to do that with other people. Her complicated feelings about her hometown are also very relatable, seeing aspects of it that she loves and is fond of, but also feeling suffocated by it and wanting to see more to life. It sucks for her though. Like Claude, the same problems she finds at home are things she finds all over Fodlan. But I think she's meant to demonstrate as a character, the bonds that you form makes those hardships easier if you're willing to open up to other people. She passes the vibe check, having the best glow up among the rest of the female cast. Here's a quick rant. I love Petra, Flavia, Fiona, and Happy, but I really hope for the next colored woman in Fire Emblem, the designers give her a black hairstyle. Please let the girl style out, or at least do better than Elden Ring. It would be extremely nice to have a character to look like that. It would make it so that it wouldn't even be a discussion what racially ambiguous characters were. They would simply be black. I can't be the only black Fire Emblem fan in existence, so I'd be happy with that. There are at least 3 of us, and 4 because I made Sebastian a fan too. Play the game, Seb.
Nah, bro, I don't really think. I'm not a fan, it's just like, it's one of those things.
Play the game, Sebastian.
Bro, calm down. You don't have to do all this. Come on, bro, how long we know each other? You really gonna pull a gun out on me over a game? Bro, please. Wait, why are you cocking the fucking gun, bro?
Play the motherfucking game, Seabass! It would also be great for me, so I wouldn't have to make an argument for some of these characters, or fight as hard against the annoying fans who are trying to tell me Nessa from Pokemon isn't black. As for the Dew and Cheryl, they do not pass the vibe check. I do not like either of them actually. I feel like the Dew is a character that just gets completely undercut by the game, and it makes it so hard for me to like him. The optics of him being so loyal to Dimitri, willing to become a weapon, throw away his life, kill anyone, I'm just not a fan of it at all. While I love the street vulnerable side of him we see, especially in his support with Ash, it doesn't really overtake the aspects of his character I'm not a fan of. If I'm being frank, it's hard to see a black guy throw away his life to be a white guy's servant and saying stuff like his life doesn't matter. It sucks especially because he's a survivor of a massacre where the kingdom of Fargus nearly wiped out his people for the mistaken belief they're responsible for the king's death. The tragedy of Dusker then ends up becoming more about the people in power than the group of people being actively persecuted in the background of the story. They're overall treated like an afterthought or a side note. Even in the Dew's Paralogue, we're fighting to suppress a rebellion from the people of Dusker, who are absolutely justified in fighting Argus. All that and him almost dying in every route for Dimitri doesn't make him badass or cruel for his loyalty. It just becomes something tragic and frustrating to see, which makes it overall hard to get behind the guy. He gets no stars. Neither does Cyril, who I honestly don't care enough to talk about at length. He's just Ray's servant boy. So after winding down the characters, among the non-tan blonde, dark-skinned characters, I found only 11. 14 if you count the boys I skipped off in Echoes. Which is kinda sad. It's even worse when only some of these characters can necessarily be considered black, or aren't even black in the case I counted them anyways, like Claude and Petra. The bar is so low for this series. All it takes for me to meet the mark is some melanin. But when it comes to the series, at least, I gotta take what I can get. These are the characters that are it, and I love them for that. When I first saw Claude in the Three Hopes trailers, I was ecstatic we were finally getting a lord that was different from the rest. Someone I saw myself in playing the game, he really was different from the rest. His story was something I resonated with, being stuck between two worlds. Growing up myself, I really felt the struggle of being othered. Never good enough, never man enough because I wasn't tough, never Haitian enough because I was born here, never American enough because my parents were immigrants, never black enough because I didn't fit in, but still experiencing the best and the worst parts of all of those sides of me, along with the cultural class of how all of those things intersect, and the rate of the press to meet what I felt meant to be enough. Needless to say, a character like Claude who just didn't want to be othered is just so earnest in a way that only an RPG or an anime character can be. And with him, for the first time in this entire series, I really felt represented. It was great to finally find a character I could identify with on a deeper level, and I hope Fire Emblem can have an even more diverse cast in the future. But the dream of another black king or queen who can take the center of the story might only happen if I literally make that game myself. If I were to, I'd probably want to impart to the player that in a world where others other others, you can only hope to be understood, and the importance of understanding and empathy. Screw that! You know what we need? A black Devil May Cry, with cool badass characters looking cool and badass, fighting cool and badass bosses and doing cool and badass things, with crazy music and audacious amounts of camp. That's what we need. That's what the world needs. A black Devil May Cry. If that's what Deathloop is, then I need it now.
Black characters in Fire Emblem, huh? You know, you didn't really ask me my opinion for this, but I will say that black is in quotation marks in my opinion. I mean, I'm not gonna give them any credit until like they're overtly made to be black, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'll give these guys true props when they put a black guy in there that's not like a joke or whatever. It's just a character. It doesn't have to be a main character, just a character that gets some love, so the fans can look at it and be like, yeah, nah, that dude right there with dreads, that's my guy. You know, I feel the sentiment Wes is going for here, and I really sympathize with it. I really do. But I'm personally not gonna be giving them props. But I do appreciate it though. On a funnier note though, we was looking at black characters for the intermissions. Ain't find none. We couldn't even think of many. Oh, it's crazy. I thought it was a lot higher. I thought this was not as much of an issue as I thought, but I guess it is. But yeah, if you like this video, check out more of our Fire Emblem content. We got more stuff coming for you. Of course, we remembered y'all. We didn't forget y'all. You seen these other videos, these Batman videos on the channel, you're like, Fire Emblem is over, I guess. No, sir. We got more anime content coming in a Persona month eventually, so check out our channel for more of that, and we will catch you on the next one.
Even though this video is late, Theft was always in the back of my mind. I mean, you can look at my desktop. Theft has not escaped me. Actually, my desktop makes me seem like a crazy person. Don't look at it. Don't look at it.